talked about have to and don't have to in the last lesson. Now I wanted to talk to you about when we say can or can't. So when we say can or can't in front of the main verb, this means that it is possible that I'm able to do something. So for example, I can speak English really well. I can cook dinner. I can play an instrument. I can play the piano. So when I say can, it means that I know how to do this action, okay? Because I can do it. I know how to do it. Now, to make the negative, you say can't. So, for example, I can't speak Portuguese. I can't speak Chinese. That means that I don't know how to do it. I like Portuguese. I think it's a beautiful language. I like it, but I can't speak it. So you could see when I say can't as a negative, it means that I don't know how to do it. Okay. And as a positive, if I say can, then that means I know how to speak Portuguese. I can speak Portuguese. Okay. So these two words, can and the negative can't, we put them before the main verb to show that we know or that we don't know how to do something. Okay. So let's talk about the grammar to using can. And you could see here can, okay? It means that I could, I may, I might, I'm able to. It's possible, it's allowed. If you want to, you have a choice. So there's lots of ways that I can use can. So let's start first with when I said that it's possible, okay? So that means that I know how to do something. So you have your subject. Remember, subject is I, you, he, she, it, we, they, or you could say who the subject is. You could say Maria, or my mum and I, or my husband and I. So you pick the subject that is doing this action. Then you say can, and can is the same for all the subjects. I can, you can, we can, they can, she can, it can, we all can, he can. And then you have the verb. And the verb is just in the infinitive. That means study, speak, play, dance, sing, whatever that main action is. So as I said, my example was as a possible, I can speak English really well. So when I say I can speak English, that means that it's possible. I know how to do it. Okay. Now also can mean, maybe. So these words could, may, might, they all mean the same thing, maybe. So I can see you on the weekend. So this can is to show that it's possible because I'm able to do it. Okay, able to do it is the same as saying it's possible. Not just I know how to do it, but maybe I can do it, or maybe I can't. But if I say it in a positive, that means that yes, I have time, I can see you. But if I said I can't see you on the weekend, then that means it's not possible. You would make it a negative, not possible. So for example, I can work next week. So maybe your boss asks you, can you work next week? You could say, yes, I can work next week. It's possible. Or the negative, I cannot work next week. So to make the negative, you add not and you add it here. So you got your subject, can, and then you have not, or you can make them together, which becomes can't. So I can't, we can't, they can't, he, she, it can't, and then the main action. And that means it is not possible. It's just, it can't happen. So for example, I cannot work next week because I have to take care of my grandmother. Or I can't see you on the weekend because I have to work. Okay, it's just not possible. This is another positive. I can buy you lunch. Okay, another negative. I can't work on Friday. So if we look at page 131 in the yellow grammar box, you could see it says here tourists, can stay for a maximum of 6 months. Okay, so I can talk about in my country, if you come to Australia, you can, because that means it's possible, you're allowed, you can stay for 6 months. For a maximum of 6 months, you can. Okay, that means the law lets you to do it. You can come to Australia and stay for 6 months. You can't work in Australia without a work visa. So if I say can't, the negative, that means you're not allowed to. The law does not let you. So you're not allowed to work without a work visa. So you can't work in Australia without a work visa. Okay, so if we look at number 2 for number 6, which verb means it is possible? Can. Okay, can means it is possible. Which verb means it is not possible? Can't. So can't means it is not possible. You're not allowed to do it. The law will not let you, or someone will not let you. Okay, so number 7, for example, we have sentences like, he can't smoke in the airport. Or if I said to you, you can't smoke in the airport or on the bus, that means you're not allowed to. Okay, the law does not let you. You can't smoke in the airport. Okay, so that was number 7. Number 3, he can't smoke in the airport. And if you look at this sentence, tourists can pay with dollars in this shop. Okay, so you can pay with cash. Maybe that can be cash if I want. I can say you can pay with cash or you can pay with credit card. That means, you have the option. It's possible, 2 options. Tourists can pay with cash in this shop. She can check in at the reception. So number 5, she can check in at the reception. So that means that when you come to a hotel, it's possible to check in. That means to show that you have arrived at the hotel at the reception. Okay, the reception is in the front before you go into your hotel room. So she can check in at reception. Okay, so that was using can. I have some more examples here. So you can't bring your bike to work. Okay, that means you're not allowed to. You can't bring your bike to work. It's the same as saying you can't smoke in the building. Okay, you're not allowed to do it. Maybe your boss will say to you, you can't use your phone when you are working. Okay, that means you're not allowed to use your phone when you are working. Okay, it's the boss does not let you, or you're not allowed to. Okay, so that's using can. I don't have any more examples with can here. But I just want you to know that there's many ways you could use it. It's also, if you want. So if I can say to you, I can see you on Thursday or Friday. So when I use the word or, that means I'm giving you an option. So if you want, there's a choice. So if I say I can give you this book, that means if you want, you can say yes or no if you want to. I can, if I can say to you, I can make you a coffee or tea, that means you have an option. Which one do you want? So again, we can also use, I can buy you lunch, okay? Or I can make you coffee or tea. So you could see I'm trying to give you which one do you want, okay? A choice, an option. So you have to put this word or between the two options. I can make you coffee, that's one option, or tea. Okay, or you could say many things. I can see you on Thursday or Friday. I can work on the weekends. Okay, you're telling someone that it's possible. If you want me to, I can work on the weekends. Okay, so that's how we use can. Again, we use can before the main verb. And the main verb is no ing, no ed, no s. It's I can. I can see you. I can play an instrument. I can run really fast. I can speak English very well. I can work on the weekends. Okay, so that's how we use can. So if we go to number 8, let's look at these signs in our textbook. So you could see number 1, because we did before in the lesson before have to, and now we know how to use can. So if you look at this first image, do you think it's saying you have to drive on the left-hand side or you can drive on the left-hand side? It's not an option. It's showing it's very important. So you have to drive on the left-hand side. That's very, very important. So not can, because we're not showing it's an option. We're showing only this way. So when you have only one way, then you have to drive on the left-hand side in Australia. Number 2, do you think it's tourists can't take photos here or tourists don't have to take photos here? If you're not allowed to do something, like no smoking, no photos, that means you can't. So tourists can't take photos here. Three, guests, is it have to leave their room before 11 a.m. or they don't have to leave their room before 11 a.m.? This looks like it's really important. So guests have to leave their room before 11 a.m. Checkout time is 11 a.m. So guests have to leave their room before 11. Number 4, music and disco in the hotel bar tonight, free for all guests. So guests have to pay or they don't have to pay? Don't have to. Yeah, because it's free. Okay, it's not important. They don't have to pay. Number 5, you can smoke in this area or you can't smoke in this area. It's green. Green means yes. Green means good. So you can. Okay, you're allowed to. The law will let you, or the restaurant will let you, or whatever. You can. You're allowed to. Yes, you can smoke in this area. It is green. Okay, there's no X in it, like a cross, so you can. Number 6, you can use the hotel lift or you can't. You can't because it's out of order. It doesn't work. So you can't. It's not possible. You can't use the lift because it is out of order. So I can say why. Because the lift is out of order, because the lift doesn't work. Number 7, business class passengers can't wait or don't have to. So you could see the economy class and then the business people. So the business people, passengers in a plane, don't have to. It's not important. They don't have to wait because that's why they pay more. They don't have to wait. It's not important. They can go straight. Everybody here is waiting, but business class people don't have to wait. All passengers, so we've got passport control. That's where they need to check your passport. So all passengers have to show their passport or can? Yeah, it's very important. They have to, they must. It's very, very, very important. They have to show their passport, not just if they want, but they have to. Okay, so that was talking about can. Now, I wanted to go back a little bit and read an article. So we're on page 130, the page before. I just want to read this article with you, and I want you to see how they use can, which we looked at the rules, and don't have to, and have to, which was from the last lesson. So let's read together. We're going to read some information for tourists and visitors in Australia. Remembering that we're learning how to use the word can, can't, don't have to, and have to. Okay, so let's have a look. Number 1, you have to get a holiday visa from the Australian Embassy before you leave. So remember, have to means very, very important. You must. So that would be important. Tourists can stay for a maximum of 6 months. So can, if they want. Remember, they have an option. They can if they want. You can't work in Australia without a work visa. So can't means you're not allowed to. You have to, that means very important, you have to get a visa from the Australian Embassy in your country. Number 2, the currency. So if we look at number 1, I can see that this is all information about the visa. Okay, so you can write that word in number 1, visa. So this is all information about visa. Number 2, the currency is Australian dollars. Okay. Most shops, hotels, and banks in large cities accept credit cards. In smaller towns, always have cash with you. So this is information about money. Yeah, so what I need to know about money. Number 3, Australia is a multicultural country. So there are many different languages. Most people speak or understand English. Language. Yep, so that's information about language in Australia. Number 4, the climate is different in different areas of the country. Summers are very hot and the temperature is often over 40 degrees. Always use lots of sunscreen and wear a hat. Climate, temperature. Yep, climate, or sorry, the weather. The weather. Information about the weather. Number 5, tourists don't have to get a new driver's license. Okay, remember, don't have to means it's not very important. But if you stay here for more than 1 year, you have to take an Australian driving test. That means it's very, very important. You have to. And this is information about road travel. Yep. Let's have a look at number 3. So I've been a tourist here for 7 months. I'm going to stay a few weeks more. Do you think that this person has read the rules or no? I've been a tourist for 7 months. Remember what the information told us? You can only stay for a maximum of 6 months. So this person says, I'm going to stay more. So no, this person has not followed the rules. I got a work visa before I left home. That's good. Yes, this person has read the information and they know what to do. I got a work visa. So tick. I've changed most of my money to US dollars. Very bad. Will the US dollars work in Australia? No. So this person did not read the information for tourist. I'm working here for 6 months. I don't know if I can drive here. No, this person didn't read the rules because you are allowed to drive for 1 year. And after it says you need to take a test. So this person doesn't know because they did not read the rules. I've bought sunscreen because of the heat. Is that good? Very hot in Australia. So this person is good. They have read the information, number 5, and they are very good. They're smart. That's good. They bring sunscreen. Okay, let's practice putting in these words into the paragraph that we're going to read about Brazil, your country. So we have the words climate. That means the temperature. Currency, license, multicultural. That means people from different cultures. Right-hand side, temperature, visa. Okay, so we have this paragraph here in number 4. In number 4, so it says, for employment in Brazil, most people need a work visa. So most people, that means it's very important. They need a work visa. Okay, so for employment in Brazil, most people need a work visa. The Brazilian real is the international currency. That means the money. Currency. Currency. Okay, so we have work visa. We know what that is. Currency. Portuguese is the official language, but Brazil is yes, multicultural. That means people from many different countries. But Brazil is a multicultural country with over 200 different languages. That's amazing. Just in one country, Brazil. Brazil is a huge country. So the climate, yeah, the temperature. So the climate can change between the north and south because Brazil is a huge country. So the temperature from the south, from the north, and the temperature on the south, very different. Okay, it can change. So climate means temperature. However, it's usually warm. That's good. So it's nice and warm. And in the summer, the temperature is often very high. Drive on the right hand side. Same like sorry, that's different to Australia. That's like America. So drive on the right hand side of the road. You have to, remember, have to means it's really, really important. You have to carry your driver's license when you drive. Okay, so you could see that it's very, very important to carry your driver's license. You have to. Okay, so now I want you to, if you look at question 5, discuss these questions about your country. What is your currency in your country? Do tourists need a visa? What's the normal temperature in the summer and the winter? Is the climate different in different areas? Which side of the road do you drive on? Do you always have to carry your driver's license? How multicultural is your country? So I've got this post. It's called a travel checklist. So it means you're going to answer number 5 and tell me about your country. So for example, Eloise says Brazil. The country used in Brazil is the real. Previously, you didn't have to get a visa. So I want you to practice saying have to or didn't have to. Now, I didn't, 1 second, I'll quickly pin this post so you can see it. Okay, so now you can see this post. You didn't have to get a visa to enter Brazil, but on April the 10th, 2024, that's this year, a new law came into force where citizens of Australia, Canada, and US need a visa to enter Brazil. The temperature in summer averages 30 degrees and in winter 15 degrees. But in some southern states, temperatures are colder all the year. You have to drive on the left-hand side in Brazil. In Brazil, left or right side when you drive the car? Maybe right. And always have to have your driver's license with you. Brazil is a multicultural country, bringing its history from many countries, many colonizations from around the world, such as Germans, Asia, and Turks. Okay, so that was Brazil. This is for Colombia. Javiera says a holiday visa must be obtained. So remember, we want to use have to. So you have to obtain a holiday visa from the Chilean embassy or online. The currency is the Chilean peso. Chile is a long country, so the climate can change between north and south. However, it is usually cold in winter and hot in summer. You have to drive on the right-hand side of the road, and you always have to carry your driver's license when you drive. Spanish is the official language. You can learn some Spanish before traveling here, but just be aware that the locals speak a different language from the Spanish of Spain, which is a bit difficult to understand. Okay, so that was some good information about the visa, the license, the temperature of Chile. Henry, this was Henry about Vietnam. So if you come to Vietnam, you can. Remember, we want to say can. That means that if you want, you can exchange money at the airport or the gold shop in the center. You can go anywhere you want, any time of the day, and can eat any hour of the day. So everything is open. Saigon only has 2 seasons, sunny and rainy. The temperature is about 28 to 35. The weather can be erratic. That means a bit crazy. It can be sunny and rainy, and then the rain can go away very quickly. You cannot drive in Saigon because there are a lot of cars here. About 4.5 million two-wheeled vehicles, nearly 5 million cars. The most important thing is that you have to apply for a Vietnamese visa. Okay, so Henry, you don't have to write it again, but make sure you read it and look at when you said can or cannot or have to or don't have to. Okay, Yaneth says for Colombia, the currency in Colombia is the Colombian peso. Tourists from some countries, such as the following, need a visa to enter Colombia. And then she tells you which countries. Colombia, if you are from anywhere else, then you don't have to get a visa. The normal temperature in Colombia varies depending on the region and altitude. In summer, temperature can range between 24 and 38 degrees, while in winter, temperatures can vary 10 to 18 degrees Celsius. Okay, you have to drive on the right-hand side of the road. And yes, you always have to carry your driver's license in Colombia, as well as your passport or ID card if you are a Colombian citizen. Colombia is a very multicultural country with a mix of indigenous Africans and Europeans. It is also home to a large number of migrants from neighboring countries such as Venezuela and Ecuador. Okay, and the last one, we have an example of China. So Curly says, China uses the renminbi currency. You have to obtain an entry visa to enter China. You have to drive on the right-hand side. The weather varies from region to region. In my hometown, Guangdong province, it is usually 32 degrees, and in summer, about 10 degrees in winter. China is a very technological place, so you don't have to bring anything to prove your identity. All your information can be found on the internet. In the big cities, you can meet a lot of international people from all over the world, which makes China a diversified country. Okay, so now I want you to tell me about your country, answering question 5. What is the currency? Do tourists need visa? What's the normal temperature in summer and winter? Is the climate different in different areas? So you can talk about where you live, your hometown. Which side of the road do you have to drive on? Do you always have to carry your driver's license? How multicultural is your country? Okay, so tell me about your country. Remember, it's from number 5. Answer those 7 questions in 1 paragraph, the same as the examples that I have written. Okay, I'll give you a few minutes. Remember to practice using can. Okay, we looked at can at the start of the lesson. Can means that it's possible, it's allowed. Okay, subject, can, verb. And to make it a negative, you say can't or cannot. Okay, and the lesson before, we looked at have to show that it's very, very important. So subject, have to or has to, verb. And then the negative, don't or doesn't. Make sure you're saying you, because you're telling what a tourist has to do or what a tourist can do. Okay, so I'll give you some time to write, telling us information about your country. So a tourist can know. Okay, for number 5, answering question 5.